So in the initial stage, when you get together, people are polite. They try to be accepted, avoid controversy, and they don't bring up serious feelings, and the coach or the manager shouldn't try to do that. And the coach or manager should involve the team members in some routine tasks so they can get to know each other. And what happens, of course, is that there's jockeying and the sort of rivalry that you'd expect when a group of men get together to establish a pecking order. So what has to happen during this stage is, well, not has to happen, what does happen is that individuals will confront each other and they will compete to get their ideas heard. And it is a process in which opening up does take place. And that's good. And then finally, after a lot of discussion, you have to come to agreements. There has to be convergence, consensus eventually. So finally, in the third stage, the norming stage, people start compromising on their ideas. They start agreeing with one another, and they get back to why the team is formed, what their objective is, and start trying to pull together as a team, as a unit. And then, of course, after you've managed to do that, you perform. And members of a performing team are interdependent, they're highly motivated, and they're knowledgeable by now about what each other can do and is good at and generally is allowed to do. And that's a whirlwind tour of that process. It just indicates that you should expect to take time to get to be a performing team. And it's good that there be some jockeying and avid discussion. It is as long as it's done in a way that doesn't insult people's character, and that in general you say the sort of thing like, "You're not a bad guy, but what your action isn't something I agree with," or something like that, or your proposal. So you keep things from being personal. Okay. And then this is your checklist for high-performing teams. It has to be a clear purpose. The external threat problem has to be well defined. When you get to know each other well, you can be efficient. You can be informal. So informality is great. You want to get everybody to participate because there is more intelligence and a larger number of people involved. You want to listen more than you talk. When you do disagree, you want to do it with style. You want to be polite. And it's important eventually to come to consensus. That is, everybody should be on board. You shouldn't have somebody who secretly or under his breath is saying, "I don't agree, I don't like this." If that's occurring, you have to get it out on the table and get over it, because everybody does have to agree. The more open communication you have, the more group intelligence you're going to have. To be really efficient, you have to have clear roles and assignments, because otherwise you have redundancy. Shared leadership is essential. You don't want one person shouldering the responsibilities of making decisions. You can have one person shoulder the responsibility of reporting and being a good communicator, but leadership has to be shared. You need to get information from the outside. External relationships and new information is vitally important. Diversity, we just heard, is important. So let's zip on here. So this, you've heard, you've established the goals, you build the trust and respect, you share knowledge to educate each other to get group intelligence out. Meet face-to-face, because it turns out that you trust more. The more face-to-face contact you have with people, the more you trust them.